Good evening, SRA Nation.
We're excited to get this season off with a bang.
I think they're all taking tires. And on top of that, it's going to be saucier. It's going to be an all-out shootout to the end. He's got line of sight on these guys.
I commend you for the bravery. He's getting this close to the diffuser.
All you gotta do is win the race. You don't have to lead a whole bunch of laps.
Oh, they're going to be side by side going into the next corner.
Oh, that's a big contact in the back of the field.
Can't stay out there like this.
He stayed in it!
We're off and away for SRA.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Sim Racing Alliance. We're here with round 7 of Division 5 in Season 10. Once again, I'm Andrew Reif, joined by Andrew Berg and Selena Boonstra. And guys, we are getting down to the wire here. Only 2 more races to go, and this one on one of my personal favorites, the Red Bull Ring. I'm feeling pretty strongly about this one. Division 5 has impressed the last couple of races. How are we feeling about it, guys?
I mean, it's just really heating up. The championship is full on taken shape. There are a few drivers who staked their claim and ready to get this championship. But the stage tonight, debuting, it's Red Bull Ring, Selena.
Yeah, Red Bull Ring, the newest track of, well, I shouldn't say newest track because the Nordschleife just came out, but it's a fairly new track that just came out, first ever on the SRA calendar, and it is actually the shortest track
Yeah.
of the season. So we have that and new experience for every driver. So I'm excited to see what happens tonight with the Red Bull Ring, especially with turn 1. So that will be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah, I'm watching track cuts too, right?
Oh, yeah.
There's some places here where you could very easily go off, right? I'm thinking turn 1 and turn 10 maybe?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, exit of turn 9 as well. If you go a little bit too wide on that one, you try to get a little bit over eager. Exit turn 7 actually is one where you can get a little bit of a track cut too if you cut into the gravel. So I wouldn't be surprised to see more than a couple of drive-through penalties tonight. But it's definitely a challenging track in its own right, despite it being one of the shortest that we have on the calendar this season. But to talk about all the drivers and how they've been doing, we got to talk about the driver standings. Right now, starting off with the golds, there's still a story to be told with the silvers, of course, but starting off with the golds, it's Josh Crush only leading Donovan Colton by 6 points. Andrew, I know you got a lot of talking points on this one, so I'm just going to let you go free for a little bit here.
I mean, Josh Grush, he's the leader on your screen, but the bombshell he dropped late last week in the race interview, if you didn't catch it, well, you're going to catch it right now. He's not racing today. Why is that a bombshell? Because he didn't race at Kyalami. Rules provide 1 drop round per season. You don't get a second drop round. That means it is now between the rookie, Donovan Colton, in his Aston Martin for Double Edge Motorsports, and Austin Red in his second season at SRA driving the Lamborghini for T-Rex. So Colton leads Red by 27 points. That's the one to watch here. Josh Grush, again, not racing. He will not be a factor for the championship.
That's just ridiculous to think about. I mean, if I was him at this point, like, just take a screenshot, stop the count, as they say. You know, sit up there in P1. But of course, I mentioned the Silver Championship. Still got a little bit of action going down. James Spiker leads right now for Corsa Spazzatura, who are also the current team leaders, if I'm not mistaken. We'll get more looks at the full page in just a second. But with Mike Cowley trailing about 61 points behind. I mean, Selena, if you had this kind of a lead into... Well, actually, this is an interesting question because I'm kind of in this position as well. But if you had this kind of lead coming into the last couple of rounds with consistent performances Spiker has had, I mean, are you feeling confident? Or are you maybe getting a little bit nervous? Because Red Bull Ring is one where, as we mentioned, it can be a little bit easy to push just a little bit too hard.
Yeah, honestly, I think I would be on a little bit on the nervous side just because that 6-point lead and it's Red Bull Ring. We've practiced, well, I guess everyone has practiced quite a lot for the Red Bull Ring, but it's still a new track for everybody. So, I mean, I'd definitely be quite nervous, but I mean, I guess I'd be pretty confident too.
Yeah, I mean, I
But
think he should be confident. He's got a
yeah.
61-point lead over Cowley in the Silver Championship. I mean, Cowley's been hot, though. 3 top 10 finishes in the last 4 races. But quickly on Silver, Schaefer, he's holding on to third here. He jumped up a spot after Steven Music finished 15th at Spa. But look out there. There's a red-hot Ian Demler. He's having a great second half of the season. Demler 6th at Indy, 4th at Spa. He picked up a fastest lap point at Valencia. So he's up 2 spots from 6th to 4th. Gap to Schaefer for Demler is 12 points. So watch Demler here in the last 2 rounds.
I mean, bringing up the point of the podium for the driver standings as well, we'd be remiss not to mention some of our lower down in the gold standings. Tyler Thompson for Corsa Spazzatura. Obi Day would really love to have the team championship, a silver victory, and a podium for the golds. But Rogele Vitea and David Herrera, both names that we've been talking about throughout the season with some inconsistent performance, but they still find themselves here in just about the top 10. David Herrera, very, very slightly outside. But then Rene Oki as well, who's been a very, very consistent driver, and we haven't really had to say their name much simply because they're not generally part of the action. They make it on pace alone. But moving a little bit more down the list, Zip in 19th position right now, overall 183 points in the silver division. He's been having a pretty good season after getting promoted, so good stuff from him.
That's in 3 races. That's
Yeah.
in 3 races.
3
He's got
races.
183 points.
Very impressive. Kent Van Sickle was one that we kind of saw promise from early on in the season, but didn't really pan out for the golds. So hopefully he'll be able to have a bit of a return to form because they had some strong pace early on. So a bit of a surprise there. But I'll take a look now over at page 2. A couple of more drivers coming down the list. Connor Yetzierski leads off the top of this page with Brett Vaughn just behind. These are kind of the quote-unquote midfielders, and I mostly say that because they're all drivers. I mean, especially Dan Rufus in 30th position. These are all drivers who have the potential to be in the top 5, if not win a race or get on the podium at the very least, but they simply have not found that consistency this season.
Yeah, a lot of the races here on this part of the standings have missed maybe 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 races. Brett Vaughn, though, I think comes to mind. He's shown, he's had some incidents. I think that's where he can improve upon and get some more races, or more points, excuse me.
Yeah, Dan Rufus kind of sitting in the same boat, 2 pole positions this season.
Yeah, that's a big name down there.
But yeah, no win. Stephanie Fisher also in 34th, who has been making some significant improvements, of course. If memory serves, still relatively new to sim racing, so kind of getting your feet about you. And of course, if you're racing in the 992, it's a very challenging car to get to grips with. Source, I drive the 992. It's great. Love-hate relationship.
Very rewarding.
Yeah.
It's very rewarding, but I mean, it's the 992. Can never go wrong with it. Totally not Porsche bias at all.
Yes. I said earlier on, I think it was God is real and he drives a Porsche. But moving on, driver standings now done. Team standings, it's Corsa Spazzatura, like I said, on top. Lead of 125 points to Double Edge Motorsports, but Donovan Colton on Double Edge is eyeing up some high placements in the last couple of rounds here, so there still could be some movement. Eric Rudderham has also been a name that we have mentioned here and again throughout the season, so still a lot of potential for movement, but the big story for me right now is the podium spot, the last one right now. 524 points for Monaco's Gamblers versus Champion Motorsports and TCB Alliance. 523 points. T-Rex right behind with Austin Red on their team for the same reason I just mentioned. Donovan Colton and Double Edge Motorsports, 483 points. They could still take the number 3 spot too.
Yeah, Corsa Spazzatura's got this thing locked up, but there's going to be some shifting and some moving around on these standings here. So every position as we go to the ending 2 races of this season are vital for those team championship points.
Looks like practice is just about ending right now too, so we had the perfect amount of time. I specifically tried to give us a little bit of extra so we could go over the standings a little bit more. But it does look like the racers are starting to get their final practice laps in, and I'm looking down the server list. We have 30 drivers in for today, and do my eyes deceive me? I see the 351 of Josh Grush in the pit lane right now. Has he lied to us?
Did he just play a master move? He did say he was not going to be here next week, and he had a work commitment. He's here.
Oh,
That is a big mix-up.
I prepared my whole talking points, studied, prepared, and he just threw a curveball.
This is not scripted.
Were that it
Wow,
was? I mean,
great.
If we had the creativity to script this, then this would be the best. This would be the best damn racing show in the world at this point. But no, here it is. But there's nothing set in stone about it. This is a track where, you make a very slight mistake on one single corner and you're going to lose some time. So qualifying is going to be particularly brutal for this one. I mean, even in the Division 3 standings, we had a little bit of a conversation about it in our text chat, but there was probably a second of total lap time between first place and 19th place. That's pretty much the entire division's worth of racers that actually set lap times. So to have what is probably going to be one of the closest qualifying sessions of the season right here and now, where Donovan Colton, Austin Red, and Josh Grush are all going to be at each other's throats. This is going to be a spectacle, I think.
Oh, agree.
What a surprise. So maybe we reset quickly while everyone's on their outlap the championship standings, because what I shared is not correct now. So Josh Grush does lead the championship, 442 points. Behind him, Donovan Colton is 6 points behind, and 33 points behind is Austin Red. So Grush leads, Colton second, Red third.
Well, it's certainly one way to spice things up. I was hoping for a good Division 5 stream tonight, and I think that in many ways, we've already gotten that wish. We're on the outlap right here. It's James Spiker, the silver leader, who's going to be setting the first hot lap, bar some sort of an incident. And I mean, talking about track cuts, it still is very easy to pick up track cuts, not just in the race, but in qualifying as well, as he comes through turn 10 here to get onto his first flyer. That is going to be one of the big spots. You run it a little bit wide there, you run it a little bit wide, exit of turn 9, and you're going to invalidate. You run it wide, exit of turn 1, and you're going to invalidate. So there's a lot of opportunities to save time, but you have to drive the car on the very limit to do so, and sometimes you go very, very slightly over, and it ruins the lap for you.
Yeah, there's going to be 7 right-hand turns, 3 left. So in a MotoGP bike, they're going to run an asymmetric tire, but here in GT3, you got no choice. But you're right, there is very, very easy just to go slightly wide, and there's so much time to be gained, so it's so tempting to kind of just push those track limits just a little bit more, but it doesn't take much.
Yep. Push a little too hard, and yeah, track limits. It's very tough. But yet it's a really fun track, I find. Even though I'm like struggling, I just find it's a really good addition to ACC. It's a great little track.
No, as I mentioned, it's personally one of my favorites.
Oh yeah.
So I'm well chuffed. I'm well chuffed to have this track in, and I've really been enjoying the hot lapping. But it can be pretty demanding at times on the mental because of all the reasons I said before. It's very, very easy to invalidate. And I mean, speaking of having pressure on you, the 292 here, Eric Rudder, and we talked about the team standings just a little bit ago, and with Donovan Colton, your teammate, being so far out in front, and with Corsa Spazzatura not really having too many podium finishes, there's going to be a lot of pressure on this particular driver to have a good performance here and at Silverstone in the last 2 weeks of racing.
Yeah, Rudderham, third most passes this season. He's got 28 in total this season. It's qualifying where he kind of struggles. It's the race where, you know, he seems to shine. But Spiker first to set a lap, 29.9. Quick reminder, he does have a pole position at Kailami. Dan Rufus, fourth fastest. He's got 2 pole positions, the only driver with 2 pole positions so far this season, Dan Rufus.
Trying to think to myself what kind of times I can expect. I know for a fact Donovan Colton looked to be one of the faster drivers on the grid as far as the hot lap leaderboard went, and that time I remember seeing was a 1 minute 28.59, which is a blistering speed. That's only a little bit slower than some of the ones that we were seeing on the Division 3 leaderboard. So Division 5, I feel like they're probably, in fact, if I remember looking at the sweatshop stats, I think they are the division with the most laps on the Red Bull Ring. I could be wrong on that, so somebody might need to fact check me on that one. But right now, Dan Rufus looking for another pole position, about 8/10 up on his time through that midfield section, though. It can be very, very tricky to get on the power early enough to get that speed on the exit without running wide onto that gravel, like I mentioned. Into turns 9 and 10 now. Have lost a little bit of time earlier on in the lap, but might be able to salvage it here. There's still loads of time left for quali, though, especially with such a short lap. You're probably going to get a good few in.
This is a big one from Rufus. He needs this. It's a big improvement. Oh, Schaefer just snakes one away from him too. That's big from Schaefer. He's leading Demler by 13 points in silvers, right? He's in danger of losing that third place in silver. So it's Schaefer who needs this position. But DZ leading 29.5, still the best. He set that 2 laps ago.
Kovac improves mightily. Steven Music also on a quality lap here. Seems like there's going to be a lot of 29s on the table. Something worth noting as well, you know, the temperature for the qualifying session isn't exactly where many drivers would want it to be. And on that note, track condition is still only on fast right now. So I'm expecting some improvements to come down the line as more rubber gets on the tarmac. And speaking of Mertzen here, a little bit of improvement. That's through turn 4. Down towards the little kink of turn 5 in towards 6. Spiker also up on their time, looking to potentially take pole position here. Zip, he's on an invalid lap right about now. Delta 2 seconds and some change, but Spiker and both Spiker and Music were improving temporarily. I think Music might have lost it, but here through turn 10, again, very challenging to get this corner exactly right and still save time, and Spiker is unable to save some time. It will still be an improvement, but only by a little bit. It's good enough for pole.
Oh, there you got it.
But not by much.
And he leads that by just less than a 10th. 7/100ths of a second. So, and improving. But guys to watch right now, Dan Rufus, picture in picture. Nathan Schaefer also improving. There's a lot of green on our screen. The only driver not really improving is Zip. So he's hoping that 29.54 is good enough.
Look at my track map, though. It looks like he's about to start another flyer. Probably going to be their second to last of the session. Dan Rufus up about 4/10 right now, which I believe you said you have that on the PIP, so keep your eye up there if you want to see it. I'm staying on board with Jan Rodrigues here for the end of his lap, and a driver who's been notably absent, I think, from more than a couple of races so far this season. The GTR has been a welcome sight on the grid from Ren Aoki, but Rodrigues hasn't really been joining us, so it'd be nice to see a little bit more of the Nissan representation on the grid tonight.
Yeah, I think he's missed 3 races, has Rodrigues.
Yeah, it seems like a while since we've seen him on screen.
Driver to watch, Rufus. He's in the 3rd sector. He's coming up on turn 9, it looks like. So 2 turns to go for Dan Rufus. This is going to be an improvement, up 4/10, 5/10 here, half a second. Where's this going to put Dan? Looking for maybe his 3rd pole.
Loses quite a bit of time, but that puts him right into P3. P4 now, as the looks of it.
Watch Schaefer cross the line. Yep.
Schaefer pole position provisionally, as the gold drivers will be out in a couple of minutes.
Schaefer mega lap there, 29.1.
He seems,
that's 3/10 faster than Spiker.
He seems satisfied with it too, because he instantly pulled over to the side on the pit straight and returned to garage. Aaron Kovac just lost a lot of time there. It's turn 10. Again, you can't run it very wide there. It's going to be an improvement, but not nearly as much as was on the table. Again, here, Eric Rudder, a bit of story for this driver on the upcoming race session. It looks like Zip just started their final flying lap. Actually, they could still get another one in. It's about 1:29 for the lap, as you can see on your screen. So if you cross the line, about 11 minutes 34. And you've got an opportunity to potentially get another one in. Rodrigues also improving. Callie improving very slightly, but improving nonetheless.
Yeah, Cowley in picture. He's up. He needs this improvement. He's down by 7/10, but this is up 3/10 through sectors 1 and halfway through sector 2 for Kovac. Cowley, excuse me, in picture.
Eric Burnham's turn wide on the main screen. That's going to bring an end to that lap. He'll have one more chance. Raf Cab also improving on the time that they've set it to 1:30 flat. Driver that we haven't really been mentioning, but Callie's still not really finding those improvements as we follow him through the last couple of corners. It looks like they're going to keep it clean. About 2/10 of an improvement. That's actually going to move him up a couple of positions. I think that was 3 or 4.
Yeah, Cowley up into 5th. He's coming off qualified at 5th in the wet at Spa, 9th in Valencia, 11th at Indy. So he's done quite well in the qualifying sessions. This, I would hope he'd probably be another spot or 2 up, but he's up again early in his last attempt here. So driver's got 10 seconds to cross the finish line. Otherwise, this is going to be their last attempt.
Here, this is Unda with Rathcab immediately behind, both improving by quite a margin. This is 8/9, maybe even more here for Kevin Unda. They don't quite get the last turn as well as they would like, but still 9/10 up on a 1:31 flat. That's going to propel them quite far up the order. Rathcab also moves up into 2nd place for the silver drivers. That's impressive. This is Matthew Ericas now, who might just be one of the last ones across the line for the silvers. But that's a huge improvement for a couple of drivers who sorely needed it here at the end of the session.
Yeah, big picture of a Rathcab. He's 4th in the Silver Championship. He's behind by 3 points. So his Red Bull ring is starting out fantastic, just in the nick of time, too. Last attempt.
Connor Farrell's still out on track here. Matthew Ericas through the last corner. 7.5 up on their time. A 1:30.4 improves about 6 positions for Matthew Ericas on their last flying lap. That's satisfying.
Didn't race last week at Spa, did Ericas. Neither of them did, father or son. So good to have him back. For the real Sim Shadies Racing. I like that name. It's a good one.
Oh, looks like it's
Here
just about
come
done
the
for the
golds.
silvers. Yep. No improvement there
Here
from
come
Connor
the
Farrell.
gold. Oh, Grush. He pulled a curveball on us. He's
Yeah,
in
he
your
did.
picture in the 351 McLaren. Did he do? I don't know about that. He got us good.
He did. He
Yeah.
did.
And you know, he got red too. And he got cold. They both put in practice. Of course they did, right? But
Cheeky, cheeky. Oh.
I'm wondering now if Grush even put a time on the high lap leaderboard, if it was all part of the deception, perhaps. I'm not
the
sure.
evil plan, right? Like the Mr. Burns from The Simpsons, right? I can just see him doing the finger thing.
Ah, yes.
So time to
Remains
beat.
be seen.
It's a 129.1. Will we see a 28 here in D5?
I mean, it was a 3/10 gap from Schaefer to Raf Cab. Well, 3/10 in about 7 thousandths as well, but that's splitting hairs at that point. That's a pretty respectable lap from Nathan Schaefer. Like I said, it's not quite in the realm of what we've seen out of some of the D5 drivers so far on the hot lap leaderboard, but the potential for that to not be the pole time is actually it's a bit frightening almost. Like I said, these guys are shockingly fast for being Division 5.
I mean, we've seen D5 all season, right? And I've learned something about watching this division. The difference between D2, I'm not gonna say D1 separate, but D2, D3, and say D5 is not pace. The difference is small. It's the ability to do it over 60 minutes. That's the main difference between a D2 driver and a D5 driver. There's less incidents, less mistakes. So pace, they're fast, trust me. And some of them are just as fast as me, just as fast as you, Andrew, and Selena. But it's the ability to do over at 60 minutes, and that's where they need to improve upon.
Speaking of improvements, there's a massive horde of gold drivers right through the middle. That's 12th to 16th place you can see on the left-hand side of your screen. I don't know how they found a gap that big, but they've done it. Make that 17th now. A couple of drivers getting there. Stefan Buckley will jump just ahead of that pack, but it's Austin Red, the big standout for the Golds to start, and is improving on their lap already, although that's more or less to be expected. With a 129.5, that was the first lap. We still have not seen it tick over to optimum, and it's making me question if we are going to see that at all.
And that would be a huge improvement, wouldn't it, Selena, for times from
Oh,
fast to
yeah.
optimum.
It really would be, because then there's more grip on the tarmac, and which would help, especially. I mean, especially through those two left-handers in sector 2. The grip is very crucial to keep the car pretty well planted. So it's interesting to see that the track is still fast.
Well, here
And
comes Red.
I know in the
Final
practice
turn.
sessions that's what happens.
I'm on board with Thompson across the line. They're going to move up into P18 temporarily. Herrera, another one that we talked about. We just saw Red go across the line. I know you mentioned that only a moment ago. That was up into P5. And we see now a huge divide as Tyrell Foster takes pole position for now. 1 minute 28.86. And I'm still expecting some improvements. The track did also just come up 1 degree. Donovan Colton's already improving about 0.3 up from P5.
Tyrell Foster, wow, that's not a name I was expecting to see here at the top. I mean, prior to this, Tyrell Foster's best qualifying position was 6th at Snetterton. He's only raced 3 races so far this season. Out of nowhere, our first 28. It's Tyrell Foster in 998. Not a picture in this championship at all.
Cool.
Hey, well, you know, maybe if you're looking to move on some divisions next season, then you want to make an impact right at the end. Recency bias is a real thing, and it impacts everybody.
Yeah.
there's your AP Psychology 101, I guess, lesson for the day. This is Regale Vita, who's improving on their time. 129.7, relatively banker sort of lap in that McLaren Evo.
Got to watch Colton. Last turn here. He's a big improvement from Donovan Colton. A fighter in this championship. 2nd, coming across the line.
Oh, he actually lost a lot of time in turn 10 too.
He did. He sure did. I think he lost a couple tenths easily. But he's still behind Foster. Gap is 1/10.
Yetzierski next across the line in your picture right now. That's a 0.5 improvement up into P3 for Yetzierski. And I mentioned this was going to be a close qualifying session. You can see the gap. Again, check the left-hand side of your screen. Between 1st and 8th position is 0.5, which is a pretty ludicrously small gap at that. I'm looking down the timing tables, and nobody has yet to set a banker lap. So everybody is on to the push laps now, including one David Herrera here, who has had a mixed experience so far this season, filled with incidents all over the place. And actually, hang on, hold that thought. I see 4 invalid laps on the table right now. 1 for Yetzierski, 1 for Vitea, and 1 for Kent Van Sickle, who's moved themselves up into 7th place. We haven't really tracked that a whole lot. They'll get a couple of more opportunities, most likely, but you can see that everybody is really starting to push the boundaries, including Austin Red right now, who's up 0.3 on their time.
And he's just in front of him, that McLaren just in front in your main screen picture. That's Josh Grush, your championship leader. He's 22nd. He needs this lap. He's up 0.4. This is desperate times for Josh Grush.
4/10's not going to move him very far, I imagine, though. So you'll have, that's Donovan Colton, an invalid lap, and here's Josh Grush, followed immediately by Austin Red. Check the times, jump on your table. 9th place for Josh Grush. You talked about it. A 20th plus position to start would have been terrible for that Macca driver.
He's pulling Austin Red with him. So if I'm Austin Red, get in this draft. I like this.
Herrera just jumped up into P2 by 0.05 or less. Rodriguez just jumped up quite a bit as well.
Grush lets Red through. So Grush is not going to improve. Quickly to Herrera. Average start for Herrera is the 3rd row. He's qualified in the 3rd row or better in every single race except one. Only Austin Red is better at putting down a Q lap than David Herrera. He needs to improve his races, though. That's where he's struggled.
Getting down to the wire now. was Ken Van Sickle. I was just on board with actually invalidating their lap exit turn 3, getting a little bit too friendly with that sausage curb. And this, Selena, you talked about it, the infield, turn 6 and 7, very, very difficult to get a proper grasp on, especially since the track has not ticked over to optimum yet. I'm still shocked that we have not seen that change, but that's just the way that it goes. The grip gods are not looking down kindly against these guys.
Yeah. Guess that's I guess we'll just roll with it.
Colton, he's got pole.
Oh.
He fixed whatever problem he had on that final turn 10.
Yep.
128.7. Wow. And that, in case anyone is wondering, that is a certified D2 time. So that, very impressive from Donovan Colton. And he's been on a flyer too.
Here's Buckley.
He told me
Buckley just ran it wide. That's invalid.
Colton told me 350 laps of practice coming into the week.
Yeah, that would do it.
That would do it, yeah.
You do it.
Here's Grosh on their final flyer. Regale VTI just lost a lot of time. They were improving on this track because, like I said, a difficult thing to do. Such a small lap, even 1/10, can move you up a place or two. Regale VTI will not be finding any more time. They're down 4/10 on their personal best right now. So it's really up to Josh Grush and Donovan Colton, by the look of it, to improve. I'm seeing the other deltas are relatively small, so unless there was a significant mistake on a lap somewhere, I'm not expecting any movement. Josh Grush, 1.2 tenths up, a 129.3 is the time for them right now. Donovan Colton is still also improving, so there could be a potential response. Through 9 here, it looks like they're a little bit wide at the apex, but the Maka is so good with the downforce in these kinds of turns. It's going to be early on the power as you can. It does not look like it's going to be too significant. Tyler Thompson finding a lot of time, though, in turn 10, and they're going to move up into 4th place. Donovan Colton looks like they peeled off to the side, and all of the other deltas go red, so I think that's just about the end of the qualifying session.
Donovan Colton is going to be your pole sitter and pick up 1 extra point in this championship. Every single point now matters. That's 1 more extra point for Donovan Colton for pole.
Well, that was every bit as close as I think we hoped. The pole time, though, are we surprised? I don't think so.
No, not at all. But hard work does pay off, so fascinating to see that lap time by Donovan Colton.
Is he going to run away with it, though? That's the real question.
And it all comes down to the wire with the race.
Looking down the order, I mentioned it could potentially be an opportunity for Double Edge Motorsports to move up. Eric Rutherham, though, in 25th position. Not exactly the greatest starting position on a grid of 30 cars, but, I mean, with D5, they're nothing if not unpredictable. So, there's nothing saying that there won't be a significant opportunity for some movement. Talking about our current team standings leaders, though, it's Spiker in 13th position and Thompson in 4th. Which seems to be just about par for the course for these drivers. But the big story, as you mentioned, Andrew, Austin Red, P3 in the standings right now overall for the drivers in 7th place, and Josh Grush in 11th at this point in time. Donovan Colton, at this point, which is very, very early to call, mind you, but at this point it feels like the championship is going to be in the palm of his hand come Silverstone.
Yeah, but if I'm Austin Red, maybe I'm a little disappointed with that qualifying result. He's the highest rated SRA driver in the D5 field. His average qualifying position is 4th. He's usually starting races on the 2nd row. For him to be down in 7th, this equals his worst qualifying position of the season and when it mattered most. What about Josh Grush, though? Maybe he did leave his practice, too late because he's usually much faster, right? We would expect him to be further up the field. Your championship leader, Josh Grush, starting in 11th. So one guy to watch out for. And he still does not have a drop round. So this is important for him. He missed Kyalami. It was not a given for Josh Grush.
I don't think it's given. Talking about the unfortunate circumstances that befell a couple of the race leaders that we had at Spa last week, things could still very well unravel. Tyrell Foster also kind of pursuing a a top dog sort of finish. David Herrera is in the same spot. Tyler Thompson, I mean, a couple of the Corsa Spazzatura drivers, well, I say a couple, that means both. Both of the Corsa Spazzatura drivers have had a shout at a race win this season, but yeah, I don't know. Lots of stories. Regale VTI is still up in P6. This is normal start, I would say, for Regale.
Hey, Tyrell Foster starting on the front row. This would be by far his best start of the season. We haven't seen him since Indy. He's only raced 3 races so far this year. He did get the fastest lap at Snetterton, where he finished in 6th place. So there is pace there for Tyrell Foster. But is he going to mix it up in this championship? Oh, someone's having fun.
Selena, yeah. Have you ever seen this kind of
How are you doing that? We're not taking tires today.
Maybe Regale is. We don't know. I mean, it's not mandatory tires. That doesn't mean you can't take tires, though.
True.
Yeah. I mean...
Oh, man.
It is cold, but, I mean, it's not that cold.
Well, track temperature right now is 23 degrees. So, in the qualifying session, yeah, it was a little bit chilly. Not terrible by any means, but a little bit chilly. But right now... I mean, I feel like you could achieve the same effect with a little bit of brake tracking. Regale, you are playing with fire. You are playing with fire, sir, because you could go into the barrier and take some damage before the race even starts. That would really ruin things, I'll tell you. Look at that.
He plays on a controller, so maybe that's how he does that, because you can't do that on a wheel.
Not without breaking your wrist.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But flip-floppy action, you already know. Your wrists are definitely gone by then.
We've had 6 different race winners this season. Thomas Greer, Tyler Thompson, Daddy, Rene Yoki, Donovan Colton, and last week, Josh Grush. Do we get a repeat here? Donovan Colton starting on pole. Alongside him is Tyrell Foster. Watch out, David Herrera, always someone fun to watch. Yezierski, clearly, by far, his best qualifying position. He starts the race in 4th. Tyrell Thompson, Vitae. Austin Red, a championship player, and down in 11th, Josh Grush, drivers to watch.
Nathan Schaefer, notably the pole position sitter for the silver field on this race, but starting in 9th overall. So I don't necessarily know if there was any significant track evolution. We obviously didn't see it tick over, but it feels like it might be a little bit of a testament to how things might have evolved over the course of the qualifying session. So Schaefer has a very real opportunity here with James Spiker, of course, the silver leader, being a couple positions back. It seemed like they had a relatively solid advantage, but it's not a guaranteed win for Spiker just yet. Schaefer has an opportunity to close that gap. Get ready to go green, just about. And I see what appears to be a car inside of another car, and we do go green. Instant contact off the line. That's Regale Vita against Thompson, but in towards turn 1, it's going to be Donovan Colton and Tyrell Foster going at it a little bit here. It looks like everybody in the front is going to get through safely, but turn 1 is an absolute nightmare, and you can see cars going wide all over the place in the back. No significant yellows. And we'll get through it. Tyrell Foster has the lead. Regale Vita is actually up in his 2nd position here against Donovan Colton in towards turn 3.
Donovan Colton, drive-through penalty on the start.
Yeah, you're going to see picture-in-picture.
Wow.
You may get that. That's a bad start for Donovan Colton. He was out of position. Very clearly out of position. That's huge. 2nd in the championship.
Oh, that is huge.
God.
Oh, that's gonna... Oh, that's heartbreaking.
Not much more to do about it now. I guess you just got to serve it. Try to get your head down. I see Kevin Unda quite a ways behind as well. But it looks like people are navigating lap 1 relatively cleanly, despite the massive amount of fighting that we saw going on immediately. And Donovan Colton also dropped down into 5th position if it wasn't already bad enough. But with that drive-through, I suppose it's a bit of a moot point in his mind.
That kind of equals this up, because think back to Valencia. Austin Red did the same thing. He got a drive-through penalty when he started the race.
Yeah.
So Colton just did the same thing. So it goes back. It's experience, right? Colton's a rookie. You gotta know. You gotta be familiar with some of those game mechanics. That only comes with experience.
First time for everything.
Down towards turn 1. It's a bit of a wide moment there. That's Matthew Eriquez, and Thomas Ma is completely the wrong way at pit exit. You can see there. Regali Vita is still going after the race lead into turn 3. Hairpin David Herrera is immediately behind. They're going to have a bit of a poor exit, are both the cars in front, and this could be an opportunity for Herrera to try to get the move done on Tyrell Foster. Takes a bit of a defensive shape. I can only imagine that Vita is thinking the same thing in front, but the 313 is going to look down towards the inside. Now out to the outside goes Vita, and David Herrera going to try to stick this one with Tyrell Foster, and a little bit of contact is made, then Aston thrown off into the gravel.
See if I can get that again. I don't think that was all that bad. Yeah, picture in picture, look for Herrera in the Ferrari. For some reason, we're in 2 times slow. I don't know how to fix that. So we're getting super slow-mo there, picture in picture.
Oh, that's a big contact. Bit of a Tokyo drift for Rene Oki. That was Rene Oki, and I believe... Oh, that was Ian Demler. Out of turn 7, I think that was. Into turn 7, rather. I'm going to be honest with you guys. These camera angles aren't necessarily the greatest. I'm doing my best with what I've been given, but there's so much action going on throughout the field. This is Stefan Buckley with a good run against Aaron Kovac in towards turn 1. That GTR, though, going to back out of that move relatively quickly, and we'll have the faux DRS with that slipstream down the back straight.
How about Vitae leading the race? Yet to get a podium this season. I think his best finish was 4th at Indy. Capitalizing on a penalty. You got something lined up here. That Aoki?
Yep. That didn't look like it was very well contested there from Mike Eriquez. Not sure what the story was with that one, but it does look like Aaron Kovac lost out to Stefan Buckley in the end, who is taking a defensive posture in towards turn 4, the hairpin. And that should just about hold through that infield section. I've seen Tyrell Foster has actually just moved down 3 positions. Yetzierski, Van Sickle, and Red all got by. So I'm unsure what the story was there. I see the 913 is off. That's Ian Demler out of turn 1. They are TG. Thomas Ma is also in the pits right about now. This is big for Austin Red, though. We talked about the potential story for this one. Grush is still down 11. Austin Red has already made up a couple of positions here. And looking for more. Wait, Josh Grush just lost more positions. What happened?
Yeah, he was right behind Red.
See if you can get Grush back. Maybe 30 seconds or so?
Yeah, something's happened to Grush.
Yeah, because he's...
Here he is, in picture in picture. He's behind Red. We'll see if we capture it here. This is heading into turns 9 and 10. Is that Rodriguez behind him? I didn't see it.
One way or the other, he met with a bit of an accident of some variety and lost a lot of track position. Somebody who's gained quite a bit here, it's Zip, that we're on board with right now in towards turn 4. That's the inside of Nathan Schaefer, who is now down 1 position. Trying to follow that one through, actually, is Stefan Buckley. It looks like they're just a little bit too far behind. Regali Vita stays in the lead of this race, a driver who I'm sure would love to have a race win just about now.
Yeah, just going back to Grush, while we did get in picture, looking at race control here, his last lap was a 39.7. Most drivers are in 31s, 32, so 6-7 seconds off pace, and he's already gone off track again, so I think maybe he left this practice too late. This may have been a last-minute decision to come and race tonight.
Maybe, but he's still on track and still ahead of Donovan Colton at this point in time, although both of them have yet to take their mandatory pit stop. Austin Red is looking pretty nice up here, right behind the diffuser of Yetzierski in front, who is themselves sitting pretty in this race so far. Nathan Schaefer comes into the pits. That's an early take, but I mean, just an update on who's in the lead. It's Regali Vita. This is by far the best race start that they've had all season long. Sure, they had to get a little bit of argy-bargy done right off the line, but they got through it, and as did their opposition. So I guess you can't you can't really cry over spilled milk in this type of scenario. And speaking of, it looks like Eric Rudderham is not crying over the fact that Rene Aoki just burned past them on the straight.
Rudderham hit that curb. You don't want to hit that curb in turn, what, 2? His car got sent up. And that's going to be Mertzen lining him up for a move here in turn 3. There's an under 2. This is going 3 wide. 3 wide in turn 3. Under Mertzen. Rudderham. Good move under.
Rudderham is the ultimate winner and all that. I mean, you can see Under was defending their position, but Rudderham just said, all right, thank you very much. I see you guys squeezing each other. I'm going to take it the long way around the outside. I got way more grip, and the 292, they're still going at it here. With Mertzen kind of trailing up behind now, and I think Rudderham, oh, that was a bit close. And Aston for Kevin Under getting a little friendly. Rene Aoki's going at it with Connor Farrell as well. There's lots of action going on. Is it good action? Remains to be seen.
Under does make that move. That's 2 passes this lap. Oh, he's gone off.
Ooh,
that's
quite
gonna be
wide.
dirty. They had to give it back.
He's is right in front of Mertzen.
Picture in picture, I'm going to move up to Yuzerski, currently sitting in 4th. Behind him is Austin Red, and then Tyrell Foster, one of the leaders of this race earlier on. So picture in picture is going to have Yuzerski, Red, Foster. And Van Sickle just in front. Look for a black and green Ferrari. That Van Sickle will be in 3rd.
Looks like Rene Aoki and Connor Farrell just swapped positions. Back with Stefan Buckley and Zip at turn 4 hairpin. Very, very challenging to go around on the outside there. I'm a bit pleased that we already had a move there once. This is Thomas Greer with Rodrix and Grush immediately in tow, and Greer getting past the both of them by look of it. I think actually was already in front of Grush, excuse me. A little bit of a light flash there from the GTR. I wonder if maybe there was a little bit of foul play, but the move is done. Doesn't seem like there's any more early pitters. If you're going to pit out now, you'd be losing, I imagine, quite a bit of time. Although, as I say it, I see... Actually, I think my race controls is having a bit of a glitch here. Nobody's pulling into the pit lane. It's just increasing the deltas in a strange pattern. This is Rufus Greer in Grush still having a bit of a scrap.
Austin Red. He's going to make a move. That's a move. That's a pass for position. Yuzerski. Another point for Austin Red. With Colton serving that drive-through, right? Colton, I don't know where he is. He's down the order, assuming he's already made his drive-through and yet to make his stop, sitting in 24th. Grush currently sitting in 16th. So Austin Red, 3rd in the championship. He's the highest of the 3 championship players, currently sitting in 4th.
Let's not discount, though. I notice Thompson and Spiker pulling, well, I guess I don't really want to say the predictable OBDA move, but they pit out early and are both running in the back of the field right now, but in really only from a formal standpoint. I see Mertzen and Rudderham are having a bit of a go at it in towards turn 6 now. That infield section, once again, very, very difficult to find the grip. Even in qualifying trim, but the 975 in towards the inside, and Rudderham is going to have to defer this position by the look of it. That's a beautiful capitalization there by Mertzen. Eric has started to come up on the back of this fight. That Aston Martin still going to be fairly strong in a straight line, and trying to contest this is the 292.
Picture in picture, we just saw a good move. Tyrell Foster around Yuzerski, turn 1. Yuzerski qualified 4th, dropped 2 positions so far this race. Still, this would be his best position, or best finish. But we are still really early in this race. 12 minutes gone by.
Mertzen being put under a lot of pressure right now by Rudderham. Again, that Aston very, very strong on the power. We're just seeing a position being inverted. That's Ralph Cab on the outside of Matthew Eriquez into turn 4. We've seen this one already a couple of times today, and it's going to be later on the brakes from that Ferrari.
Oh! Collision Eric Rotterum gets collected by Mert Mertson, just losing it at, I think that's either turn 2 or turn 3.
Turn 3.
Including the kink after turn 1. Oh.
Rudderum is on the picture-in-picture. Mertson's way far back. If this is the right replay, it's been giving me difficulties, but Rudderum heading down to turn 2. Yeah, and we can't count on picture-in-picture replay today. Sorry, guys.
Technical difficulties, but one way or the other, the contact happens.
My eyes just witnessed that. I was vocally speaking in sound.
We appreciate it.
And really, that's all we
didn't
asked
see
for.
it. We didn't see it, yeah.
So, just pointing that out there.
What we did just see, though, is Austin Red making a move on David Herrera. We only caught the back half of it. I think Herrera may have made a mistake because it looked like a relatively cut and dry affair, but this is Austin Red now on the back stretch just before that turn 4 hairpin.
Definitely a mistake from Herrera, 30.8. That's a 1.1 seconds slower than Austin Red's lapping.
Ooh, the 313 is making that Lamborghini think about him.
Oh!
That's Ma.
Having a moment. To the grass.
Luckily, that didn't seem to interfere with the race leaders. There's a lot going on, that's for sure. Small margins. Very difficult to keep your cool about you on a track this small, where, you know, as we mentioned before, is just one small mistake, and we see it right there, actually, Connor Farrell getting passed by Kevin Under, running a little bit wide on the exit of turn 6. That's how easy it is to lose positions. I mean, that's true of every track, of course, but specifically here, gravel on the outside of pretty much every corner. If you're not taking the exact right line, you're losing speed anyway, but then, you know, threat of drive-through penalties being assessed towards you, and then, of course, just losing a whole lot of speed on those gravel traps.
While we keep an eye on this battle for third, a quick check on our leader, Vitae. He has our track racer fastest lap of the race. He's into the 29s at 29.960. Experience redefined gaming with Track Racer's high-quality sim rigs and accessories. Code SRATE to checkout. At checkout to support us. Our Track Racer fastest race of the lap, Regalia Vitae. And leading by 5 seconds, 6 seconds over Van Sickle.
Yeah, the gap does get a little bit wonky there through some sectors of the track, but it does look like it's a roughly 7-second gap to P2. So incredibly strong race pace. Zip continues to move up the field. I do believe, again, Thompson pitted out from in front. But currently looking at the race stats, they're one of the biggest winners of this race so far. Up 8 positions, Stefan Buckley, who's immediately behind, is up 13. Steven Music is also up 11 positions. It's 14 for Kevin Unda and 10 for Connor Farrell. It's just been a phenomenal race for all of those drivers, and we've only really had a couple of big losers in terms of placements, and I believe half of them are because they just took an early pit.
We saw Herrera go off a little bit in turn 9. Reminder, you only get 3 of those, and I think that was just one of them for David Herrera. So 3 cuts or 3 track extensions, and you serve a drive-through. Pretty sure Herrera just got 1.
But of course, if they give you a warning for it, if you can lift off sufficiently, you know, you can get a time gain.
We don't know that. You won't know that.
Yes.
But you know you see a cut when watching the stream if you see tires touching red. That red paint, blue paint's fine. Red, no go.
Talk about maximizing. Oh, and speaking of, that was Eric Rotterum right in front of James Spiker, who went well wide. Exit of turn 1. This is Rodriguez up against Mert Mertson, who's already been implicated in one incident. I won't necessarily say at fault. We never saw the footage of that one, unless Selena. Well, you know what? Never mind. Don't even say. We'll just leave it up to the stewards. I think.
Yeah, we just commentate on race cars. That's all we do.
Yeah, we're here to shout out race cars.
Yeah.
So we'll leave that up to them. But Merton has been implicated, at the very least, in one incident so far this race. But a driver who, I will say, at every single race that we have, has really gotten a much better grasp of the Porsche in the time that they've spent racing this season.
I don't know when it happened. Maybe it's always been optimum, but the track is optimum. So times are coming down. There's now 4, 5 drivers, 6 drivers. No, 7 drivers now in the 29s. As of a few minutes ago, there's only 2.
And of course, tracking on the battle between Austin Red and David Herrera for the final podium position. David Herrera driving like somebody on a mission, which I guess in fairness, you know, you do have redemption still on the table, but simultaneously, the championship is well out of grasp for Herrera in that Ferrari. So the aggression.
Yeah, redemption is all about Herrera today. He's lost a total of 82 spots. 82 in 6 races. He starts races at the top. We mentioned it earlier in qualifying. Averages the 3rd row or better. There's a move Rodriguez. But maybe a Cowley lifting.
Cowley blue flag traffic. But it was Rodriguez making a move on Mertzen at turn 3. It was quite clean, I'll say.
And so Herrera, no problem mixing it up today with Austin Red, and he's got every right to do so.
Yep. I mean, would he be a real racing driver if he wasn't, in fairness? So I can't fault him for that. Never really can. I've seen Thomas Guerrero actually on an invalid lap again. I'm seeing a lot of red laps actually on my timing sheet. So a word from the wise. Maybe try to keep things inside of the white lines, everybody. I don't want to see more drive-thrus come down. Although, in fairness, we haven't had a single drive-through penalty for track limits just yet. It's only been the one for starting position for Donovan Colton.
Austin Red, your fastest driver last lap, 29.3. Your leaders, 29.4, 29.6, 29.7. So of the top 6 drivers, Austin Red is the fastest on track right now. Currently sitting in 3rd. He's got a 1-second gap to Van Sickle. So now that he's gotten around Herrera, can he chase down Van Sickle? I mean, Van Sickle to Regale Vitier. I mean, Vitier needs a 4-time scope with a red dot laser. You can see him, but I don't think he's got a shot.
Vitier has a red lap this last go-around, but no drive-through penalty on the timing sheet. I was a little bit nervous to look into the top left corner of my screen there, no lies. I mean, it's mostly been a season of tragedy for Vitier, all things considered. Very, very strong pace for that driver. I wouldn't necessarily say, you know, challenging for the championship in every aspect, but they certainly could have been up there, if not for a couple of mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, highest finish, 4th at Indy, but 19th at Valencia, 18th at Indy, 15th at Spa. Nothing really to write home about. We might get our 7th different winner of the season if he's managed to pull this out.
This is looking like an interesting one.
Rough cab, side by side to, I assume T3 because that kink. I guess it's called technically turn 2, but we'll just go with that, I guess.
Looks like one of the other Ericas involved in something. It looks like they might have gone a little bit wide there at turn 1. They just lost position to both Thompson and Rodriguez. So no tales of merriment for the Ericas duo on this lap of racing. Is Buckley against Zip. Zip, who's been a driver that I think has only moved forward so far, but is looking like they're going to be making some backward motion this lap. 363 on the inside, or excuse me, the 173 on the inside, the 363 on the outside, and it was a clean move there for Stefan Buckley onto the main straight, and we'll see if Zip has a little bit more to say about it.
Zip coming off a podium, finished 3rd at a wet Spa. We didn't see Buckley last week. He skipped the wet.
That's a bit of contact. Oh, Donovan Colton and Connor Farrell turn 4. McLaren on the inside. Got a tap on the side pod. Took a little bit of a trip into the barriers. This is Austin Red actually forming up to the back of Kent Van Sickle.
Yeah, just 3/10 behind already.
I feel like Kent Van Sickle may have made an error because this gap I thought was a little bit larger than this. Last laps for both these drivers were within 2/10 of each other. So maybe a bit of an error there for the 634. I mean, that's the strongest performance that this Ferrari has had all season long, save for, I think, Kyalami, you know, prior to the incident, TM, if you'll allow me to call it that. Well, that's very late on the brakes. A Spiker going to have the apex there. That's a 296 immediately behind them. I believe that's lap traffic. Cowley, I believe that is. Indeed it is. Mark Merchant, though, losing another position. That was James Spiker at turn 3. Nicely done.
Oh, here we go. Red's going to line up Van Sickle. You may want to move up, and you have. Okay, good. So this is Red looking ahead to Van Sickle. Van Sickle hits that curb. He's going to lose some top end here. He's on the inside. Next turn is a right hand. Very, very sharp. You can go down to second. Sometimes some guys use first gear.
Red did opt to pull into the slipstream, though. And now David Herrera is immediately up behind this Lamborghini. You can see Van Sickle, as you mentioned, got a little bit squirrely on the curb exit turn 1, and then again exit turn 3.
Yeah, mistake last lap from Van Sickle. Cost him half a second. That's the reason why Red and Herrera is caught up to the back of him.
Well, that's another mistake. A little bit in the gravel. 728.
That's gonna open up the gap for Red. Side by side. Did quite a tricky corner to go side by side, but it works.
Again, Herrera still
Not in Red.
still in this conversation. One mistake here. This is really tricky for Red. And
He's really checking. Oh, he's saying that I'm still here and I am ready to get
Red lets him go. Pull in the pits, Red.
Yeah, Red is going to the pits.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Smart move.
Very smart move.
Yeah, get out of the way. Herrera's not to be messed with.
Yeah, don't want to waste any more time battling.
Especially when you're in the championship, right? This is working out perfectly to your plan. With Colton getting that drive-through and Grush just not having it today. Qualified down the order. Just where is this going to put Red, right? He's got to come out in space.
We missed Eric Rudderham was passed by Nathan Schaefer further down the order. That was for position 21, but I believe Nathan Schaefer has already taken their pit stop, so it's not necessarily going to be representative of his position at the end of the race where he is now. Still a very solid race so far from Nathan Schaefer, despite the on-track action not necessarily going their way. Their pit strategy seems to be doing wonders for them, so we'll have to keep an eye on that as it evolves. Same really goes for Spiker and Thompson. As I mentioned before, of course, Spatatura playing the same game plan that they've played pretty much all season long. That's Rodriguez inside turn 1 against Thompson for position.
Textbook move, Rodriguez.
Despite how easy they make it look, it is quite tricky actually, but the run, oh my goodness. I don't know what happened, but Thompson immediately got right back by.
Is that a lift? That shouldn't happen like that.
Did I miss a bit of a squiggle?
No,
something?
I didn't see it. I guess maybe he didn't get a good run. That's the only thing I can think of, but he made a clean move.
Could be that Thompson is running a much lower wing, although, I mean, even then, that doesn't seem, I wouldn't think that would account for such a big difference in speed down the straight. Let's keep an eye on the lap times as they come down. This is really the closest gap that we have on track right now. Things have really started to calm down. Van Sickle, he's still in front of Herrera at the moment. The gap 1.4 seconds. But Van Sickle did run an invalid lap last lap. Please tell me there is no drive-through. Thank goodness. That really would have put a damper on my mood. Vergele Vitia still leading the race. Gap about, I think, 17 seconds is the highest that I saw my race control go. Even 18, but it drops down to about 11 through this sector. It's clearly a little bit finicky. So somewhere in that range, but definitely getting close to double digits, if not already there, for the race leader.
And it's growing. Regalia Vitier was 0.6 faster than Van Sickle the last lap. He also has the purple. He's the fastest driver. today so far. So Regala Vitier and the Montreal Canadian leading this race. And the 154 McLaren looking for his first SRA win this season.
Canada represent.
Yeah, there you go.
From one Canadian to another.
Ooh, Austin Red. Oh, that's a little bit wide from Austin Red onto the braking zone of turn 4. Lap stays white, though, on the race control, so clearly didn't go that wide. That would certainly count as a cut. And I've definitely invalidated there before, but getting caught up behind traffic is the last thing that Austin Red wants. Speaking of, David Herrera probably considers Camp Van Sickle traffic. This is another obstacle to get out of the way, slightly wider on the entry to turn 1. They both miss their apex by just a little bit, but this might just be the run that David Herrera needs. Well into the slipstream now of the car, and from the, again, that's a 6.34 of Kent Van Sickle up in front, who, if they keep their position, this would be one of the best finishes they've had. David Herrera is motioning up the inside, will not go late on the brakes, but maybe made that Ferrari in front think a little bit too much. He's going to have a bit of the run over the sausage. Goes that green and black Ferrari in front. The run's not quite there, though.
This is two guys with just outright pace. They've been very strong when they've been here, particularly Van Sickle. Third highest SRA rating in D5. He had the fastest lap at Kyalami. Probably besides Austin Red, I would say Van Sickle's the second fastest in raw pace, and then Herrera. But Van Sickle's lost 25 spots in 4 races. So it's again, he's another guy who has struggles during race. In fact, both of these guys do. And that's Van Sickle and Herrera. You've got what, Unda
and Red.
So Red's out of the pits.
Yeah. I think Unda, realizing that they're on different strategies, probably didn't defend that one too hard. Looked like they were a little bit too late on the brakes, though, if they were trying to fight that one, and Red will find their way through. Now with a 10-second gap in front to Kovac. I'll check my relative, and it looks like that is the nearest car. So Red with a load of clean air and a lot of time to think, surely.
This was a splash and dash strategy, so you're not taking tires today. Ideal strategy and winning strategy should be 1 liter of fuel, get back out. So pits should be very, very short.
Rodriguez against Rufus in the main screen. Rufus, ooh, bit of a move there for the 280. That's the Porsche on the inside. Rodriguez forced to go the long way around, and that'll be a nice defense there from Rufus. I don't necessarily know if that move counts as reactionary, but again, that's for the stewards to decide. It looks clean enough, predictable enough, I should say, from the cam that we were on at the time. That Mercedes. Oh, whoa, that was well close. Tyler Thompson just behind that. Almost got a nip of the diffuser of the car in front. But Rodriguez will stay in the fight. Ooh, that's going to be contact. Oh, the 280!
Oh, no.
Oh,
You have to leave room. You have to leave room if you're Dan Rufus.
Oh, and the 57.
No.
Oh, Thompson.
No.
Well, he didn't do himself any favors there. That's Rufus hit Rodriguez, and then Rodriguez retaliated against the wrong guy, Thompson.
That's difficult. I definitely don't think that was an intentional retaliation. I think Rodriguez was trying to get back under control and didn't realize that there was a danger of rejoining. And then once they got it back under control, they hit the brakes too late for the corner. And Tyler Thompson, now a huge loser in an incident they weren't even a part of. I don't know if there's much more to say about that one. That's definitely going to be looked at by the stewards. But Dan Rufus and Rodriguez, I mean, you got to know there's a kink going down the straight there for turn 2. Was space required to be afforded there is the real question. I mean, was there that significant overlap? That's going to be up for the stewards to decide.
I mean, I'm not a steward. I think so. You got to give him space. You know he's there. He's been there the whole straight.
You must leave the space.
I don't think he was trying to make a move. And then not a good look for Rodriguez thereafter.
Rodriguez, who was penalized for bumping a couple of cars up at the front at Indianapolis, and ended up being the one that wiped out Dan Rufus in the end. So it's not really been the most amazing run from him. Oh gosh, that's a huge crash for Connor Farrell out of turn 10, trying to rely maybe a little bit too much on the downforce, and it got the better of him.
Total spin out there. Oh.
Picture in picture will have this spin. Final turn, turn 10.
Oh, man.
Here he is coming 9. And that's Grush behind him.
I guess Grush will be happy to have that clean air, if nothing else. Yowza.
That's funny. I haven't done that there.
I know it's possible, that's for sure.
It's possible now.
What happened?
Yeah.
So picture in picture, just FYI, back to Herrera. Looking ahead to Van Sickle. Regalia Vitier, huge lead here. Still 12 seconds. And still your fastest driver on track. Last lap, fastest driver. Still holding on to the fastest lap of the race as well. So he's not giving this thing up.
I've got Connor Yetsiarski against James Spiker immediately behind. This one is for position. Both have made their mandatory pit stop. This is an ongoing battle, I might add. This has been a relatively close gap for the last couple of laps at the very least. Probably more than that. It's been respectful even so far. I think Spiker has mentioned the policy of, you know, don't get into incidents before on the stream in the post-race interviews. And to me in private, because OBDA homies, he and I. But yeah, seems to be working wonders for him, at least for right now, although perhaps the non-aggression is costing a little bit of time on track as they're still behind Yetsiarski. We're on with Herrera on the main screen now. This looks a good opportunity in the slipstream. Kent Van Sickle ahead. No defensive movement there for the black and green Ferrari. A little bit later on the brakes is Herrera, and there might have been a little bit of a door bang there from the 313, but the move is done, and both of them stay on track for now. Kent Van Sickle, I don't believe, is going to have an amazing run here. The switchback was not quite on, so that'll be the end of that story. James Spiker, though, in towards turn 9 around the outside of Yetsiarski. I believe, yeah, Yetsiarski's just going to let that one go through.
Yeah, a bit of a game of cat and mouse here with Herrera and Van Sickle. Swapping positions. Good move by Herrera there in turn 2. Perfect place to do it. I would think the best place to make a pass. And that's where he chose to do it. So, textbook move. David Herrera.
Turn 3, remember? Turn 2 technically counts as the kink, and I think we all saw the reason why that's technically regarded as a turn. Just a little bit ago.
Thank you.
For all technical regulations, of course. This is Thompson with Stefan Buckley on the inside. Buckley, a little bit too much of that inside sausage, but then again, Thompson over the outside, and I don't see a DT popping up on my screen just yet, so I'm going to go ahead and hope and pray that that's not the case. It does look like they'll get away with it. Connor Yetsiarski still trying to come back at James Spiker in towards turn 4.
Picture in picture is going to be on your race leader, Regalia Vitier. He should consider coming into the pits because he's approaching blue lap traffic. So if I'm him, you get in the pits. You're not going to want to be behind these cars. You got a huge lead.
So nice move for Greer against Rodrigues. It's Greer, Rodrigues, and Austin Red immediately behind as they go across the line here. We're looking at a potential move into turn 1. That GTR and the Bentley, both quite a ways stronger in a straight. And the Lamborghini immediately behind. This is going to be a good run for Austin Red, but again, that 133 is so strong, just moving down the straight here. It looks like space is going to be afforded on the inside. There's no defensive shape, and really at this point you can't go defensive. But Austin Red simply has nothing in it. I think they lift out just a little bit to make sure they navigate turn 3 cleanly.
He can't be messing around with these drivers either. With the way the race is formed up ahead of him, with Vitier, huge lead, who's staying out for another lap. Herrera and Van Sickle, Red needs to get around these cars and quickly.
Very true. As you claim, you know, blue flag traffic sure isn't going to help. But in fairness, you know, the longer that you go out, the better the odds that you don't run into drivers that you're competing directly. At least the blue flags will get out of your way, I suppose.
Yeah.
And look at all that traffic. You should have gone in. There's 3 cars in front of you.
Oh, Van Sickle. Herrera's got to make a choice. Defender go for the racing line. It's Van Sickle on the inside, and Herrera does give him a little bit of a squeeze. And oh, Van Sickle, that's a little bit too late on the brakes. And it looks like they're both going to navigate it. The move is done. I mean, space was afforded there for David Herrera. Your survival is paramount after all. But it looks like he got a little bit of a better run. He's going to have the inside line here for turn 4. And this scrap just keeps on giving for us in the viewing.
Hard on the brakes, huh? That Ferrari barely held on. Those left-hand tires were screaming for grip.
Yeah, you see Herrera getting around. Van Sickle got a little bit of that gravel. Exit turn 4. I talked about it. It'll really kill your lap time. Sucks in qualifying, sucks even more in the race when it's her position.
Yeah, exactly. And it's tough having all that gravel around you and then just dipping your tires in it, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're being overtaken on the straight.
That game of cat and mouse between Herrera and Van Sickle continues in your picture-in-picture.
At least it doesn't count as a track cut, that's for sure. There are some places where it does. Tyler Thompson just got the door shut on them by Nathan Schaefer, but still has the opportunity. In towards turn 3, space is afforded, has the racing line, does the 5-7. They're going to go for the switchback here, 4-5-3, kind of parks it on the apex though. Nathan Schaefer knows what's up, but it's still a nice move around the outside here. Thompson says, all right, you know, do what you want. I'll just take the traction that's all available on the outside of the track, and he'll get it done here towards turn 4. It's still a little bit of a battle. Van Sickle and Herrera still going at it, by the way. And VTA did come into the pit. 57 Ferrari there of Tyler Thompson. Again, it's that gravel on the outside of turn 4. Slows you down just that little bit and compromises your entry into those critical double left-handers of the infield. But it's a mistake from Nathan Schaefer. Allows Buckley
again.
Too.
Oh, lost position to Stefan Buckley. That gives Tyler Thompson a little bit of breathing room.
I've moved in picture-in-picture to Tyrell Foster, who's caught up to the back of Van Sickle and Herrera. These two guys battling it out has only helped out Tyrell Foster. And he was faster than the two drivers in front of him by over a full second. Herrera and Van Sickle running 31 3s and 31 8s. Foster just made a move.
Oh.
Okay, pits. So,
Yep.
Van Sickle's going to the
That would
pit.
be why.
I was about to say, I was like, that was a half-second gap. How in the world did he close it that fast? No wonder. But getting an update on provisional race leader right now. Again, Regale Vitia through the infield at the moment and is in the lead from Austin Red, who sits behind. A gap to the leader looks to be, well, I can't tell, actually, because the gap to leader is referencing David Herrera. So I don't know how far behind exactly Austin Red is. I think it's only a couple of seconds, though, actually, by the looks of things. And you can see on track here, Regale Vital must have had a rather awry stop, if you will, to be this close up to Austin Red. I'm going to check, actually, and it was a 47-second pit stop, lost 13 seconds in the pits compared to Austin Red.
So Austin Red spent 34 seconds. Vitier spent 47. He came out on top, but he's going to be looking down at Austin Red. He lost considerable time in that pit. He had a 12-second lead in this race.
I mean, think about it. Each lap that you claw time out of your opposition, and then it takes so much effort to build up 13 seconds worth of race time of a gap to any opponent. I don't care if it's the very back car on the track. That's going to take at least, 6-7 laps, and then to lose it all just on the pit stop is just devastating stuff. Herrera and Foster both coming to the pits. I'm on board here with Yetsiarski, with Spiker on the outside. This battle, like I said, continues to evolve, and I am quite liking the rivalry that we got going on here at the Red Bull Ring for these drivers. Stefan Buckley actually just made their way past Tyler Thompson on the back straight. Looks like it might have been a move executed on the exit of turn 3, and maybe another one coming into turn 4, potentially up the inside, and oh no! Tyler Thompson, a little bit of a dive, contact with both GTRs, and that's gonna send Yetsiarski, or excuse me, Stefan Buckley into the wall.
Yeah, picture-in-picture is going to be on Buckley. Clearly around. But watch the move from Aoki in the green GTR. Late on the brakes.
Again, Stewart's going to have a field day with
that's
that
on
one.
Aoki. That's on Aoki.
Well, that's typical
Ferrari,
to call.
Ferrari hit Buckley. Yeah, I know, but you gotta if you got to point blame, my first look looked like Aoki.
Again,
I can do that because no one cares what I say.
again, yeah, leave it to the
It
stewards.
doesn't matter if I'm wrong. Maybe someone in chat gets pissed, but that's about it. Okay, back to red. Picture-in-picture. That's Greer in front of him. He's closing in on Vitier. That was a 5-second gap when they came out of the pits, down to 4 seconds. That's what really why we're looking at red and Greer here. It's not necessarily Greer. It's the driver in front of Greer is Regalia Vitier, currently sitting in 4th. Leader,
Is it?
he's made his pits.
Is it only? It looks like it's only 3 seconds if my eyes don't
3
deceive
seconds.
me.
Yeah, 5 down to 4, down to 3.
So that's your big mistake for the race there, Regalia. Don't throw it away now, because if you're one big mistake of the race still sees you coming out in first place, that's not very big of a mistake, if I'm being quite honest.
There you go. So red gets around Greer. So now it's on. It's Vitier versus red.
See on the wing cam here, just that pink Lamborghini. It's a little bit distant, but something you got to think about nonetheless. One mistake could cost you pretty much the whole race win, and wide at the apex of turn 3 certainly is not the way to start.
Boy, 13 seconds extra in the pit. Damage, you think, Selena? Was he fixing something? Unless he blew his box.
And no damage.
Yeah. I mean, or maybe extra fuel, but 13 seconds though. I mean, that could be like, I don't know.
Oh, he was
damage.
considerably faster.
It's true.
And
Yeah.
that's generally not what... It doesn't usually work out that way.
Yeah.
They take fuel, right?
Yeah.
We'll have to ask him if he manages to hold on to this. Gap 2.8 seconds now. So this is the race. Regalia Vitier seeking his first SRA win. Austin Red in a fight for the championship.
Because that has me kind of curious now as to why he lost that amount of time in the pits. That's certainly a lot of time to lose.
And this is massive because Donovan Colton's sitting down in 19th. Josh Grush in 21st. This would launch Red. Oh, we got Honda. He's off. This would launch Red into the lead of the championship.
Big implications. Just have to wait and see how things pan out, though.
Yep.
Talking about opportunities missed, though, Spiker leads from Nathan Schaefer by 6 positions. So, no, not going to be a whole lot of movement in terms of the silver championship there, I suspect.
Yeah, got to watch out in silver again. It's Spiker in first, then Cowley, then Schaefer. No Demler this week, so I think that Schaefer might hold on to this, but Music would be the other guy to watch, and he's in 8th currently, so he would pick up second most in silver, so Music might jump Schaefer. Where's Schaefer? Schaefer's 16th. So Schaefer's got something to drive for here.
Schaefer up in 16th, right behind who are on board right now. That's Rodriguez, and then Thompson is behind them, but probably going to be less interested in this battle. Trying to keep it clean for the remainder of this race. I can only imagine Thompson's already been part of a couple of incidents now that I'm sure they'd like to forget, but sometimes you don't really get to shape your race the way that you exactly want to. Seeing a lot of red laps on my timing table, but no drive-throughs on the left-hand side of the screen. Keep an eye out for that. It's Kent Van Sickle, or excuse me, David Herrera up behind Thomas Greer. This is looking towards turn 1 on the main straight, and Greer actually going to be passed here with a relatively pedestrian effort there by David Herrera. I wonder if there was a bit of a lift there from Thomas Greer.
He's got to make his pit. Yeah, Greer hasn't pitted yet, so different strategy. Not really a factor in this race is Greer. So Vitier, Red, Herrera, he's still out in front of Van Sickle. Those guys were racing really too close before the pits came out, but Herrera the winner there.
Yeah, it looks like Rufus and Mertzen, the only other ones that need to pit on track right about now. Remainder of the fights are going to be 4 position, and oh boy, that's... I just saw One car off. That was Yesierski. Oh, that's a lot of damage for Yesierski. We must have missed something big because the front hood of that Mercedes does not look like it's in good shape. Goodness.
I don't know. It looks right to me. That thing's crooked.
I don't know what kind of Mercedes you're driving.
Actually, I'm also a Porsche person. I got one down the garage.
Ooh. Remind me to come over to your house sometime.
Yes.
No, you wouldn't want to let me drive your Porsche. That would probably end in disaster for all parties involved.
Can you drive
I
3
would
pedals?
gladly drive it.
More red laps being handed down. Last lap here for Zip was a 1:38. For Tyrell Foster, it was a 1:40. So there must have been some shenanigans going on there. Dan Rufus a 1:35. Must have missed some sort of action. I wonder if the yellows maybe aren't working as well as they're supposed to be, because I feel like I would have caught that, but here we are.
Yeah, they should be running 10 seconds faster than that. They should be running 30-second lap times, 31s. A 40-second lap time from Tyrell Foster. That would not be his fastest lap. So Vitier managing this gap, though. Yeah, the race leader. It's been hovering 2 seconds, 3 seconds since they've managed that blue lap traffic. I thought maybe Red would be catching up to him, but not really the case. They're running equal lap times. Both last lap around a 31.1, equaling each other.
That's Red on your screen, and Herrera coming up very closely behind. Thomas Guerrero, again, not really in this fight. In the Bentley has yet to make their mandatory pit stop. I see some movement further down the orders. Donovan Colton being passed by Josh Grush. That's poetic for this season. I guess if you can't stop Austin Red, you might as well try to stop your only other competitor in the top 3 right about now. And that's one way to get the move done.
Every point is going to matter. Grush has no drop round. He needs these positions. Colton can take this one. Colton, I'll get you his worst finishing position. It was 12th. So this was going to be Donovan Colton's drop round. It shouldn't have been. 350 laps of practice on pole. Got to drive through right away. So it's going to be his drop round. That's a lot of wasted time and energy.
Yeah, really unfortunate. And actually, speaking of unfortunate,
Whoa.
we have Spawn Buckley trying to go out on the outside of Kevin Unda, who just lost position to Raf Cab as he got by Kevin Unda. Stefan Buckley trying to figure out a way around Kevin.
You saw Donovan Colton get
there.
around Josh Grush on the exit of turn 7 and turn 8. I don't know what it was very clearly quite the run. It looked like he turned on the NOS or something. I don't really know what happened, but
Oh, that was Grush. He made a mistake. I think he went a little wide. He caught some curb, and the car actually lifted. So it was a mistake from Grush that allowed Colton back around.
see Nathan Schaefer, I think, got a little bit of a bump there on the inside of turn 3 from, I believe it was Rodriguez who made the contact. But Tyler Thompson was also in close proximity to that incident as well. So it's another one for the stewards to think about. But a fairly inconsequential one for the most part. I do believe Nathan Schaefer did end up losing position, though, as a result of the little bit of physicality there.
Picture-in-picture does have your leader. You can see Austin Red in the background. Gap still. It's 2.4 seconds. Last time around, they matched each other again. 1 minute 30.2s, the both of them. That gap is not coming down.
Rush thinking about it on the outside of Colton here. On exit turn 9 and into turn 10. Aston Martin on the inside of the McLaren. They keep it together. Well, there's a little bit of contact. That could easily have gone much worse than it did. Rav Cab is going to have the run on both of them now, as they both had to sacrifice their entry onto the pit straight. Looks like Rav Cab's going to take a little bit easy on the brakes here, trying to capitalize on a potential mistake. It's a little bit wide there from Grush. And I think it might have been a little bit of a lift as well, but I'm not sure. This is a close gap now with 4 cars, involved. Stefan Buckley immediately behind. Rafcab's got to think about that one. Oh, it's a late move to the inside. I think it was a clean one. A slight bit of contact onto the diffuser with the 173 and the 906 getaway. Josh Grush on the outside of Donovan Colton gets the move done as well at turn 3. Wonderfully done for all drivers involved. That was a late move for Rafcab, but it was before the movement there for Stefan Buckley. So well defended.
Oh no! Ooh, Colton's made a mistake.
Yep, and of course, all good things must come to an end. Colton goes a little bit wide there, and that's the end of that story.
Kind of wearing down maybe is Donovan Colton. I think reality's setting in. Drop round. This race is over for him. Which means his worst finish at Kyalami 12th is pick. He's going to have to, if he's going to win this championship, he's going to have to maintain a 12th position, his worst position. Grush, again, he's already missed a race, so he's got one with no points to lose, is Josh Grush. I think Colton, just get this race home. You got 7 minutes to go.
Yeah.
Saw Dan Rufus pull into the pits a little bit earlier. So starting to bleed off. A couple of more of those have yet to pit. It's 6 minutes and some change. I guess really 7 minutes minus some change left in the race. I believe Thomas Guerrero still has to pull in, as well as Mertson. So watch for them to drop down the order. But they're just getting in their clean laps right about now. Kent Van Sickle is going to be on for a P4 finish so they can keep up the pace here, but they're not that far behind David Herrera. Rogelio Vitia stays in the lead with Ostermed behind. And of course, as I mentioned, David Herrera in third. So it's a solid podium. Certainly, I think a lot of deserving podium finishers. And I'm sure they're all going to be quite pleased with the overall result. But this is the biggest fight right now. Train of 5 cars now, leading with Josh Grush and with Rafcab immediately behind.
Picture-in-picture is still on your leader. Gap still 2.5 seconds. So managing this gap quite well is Rogelio Vitia, and he's only had one career top 10 in the SRA in 2 seasons, I believe. I think he did race in 1 season, but it was really just 1 race. So his career, we'll just call it 2 full seasons. He's had 1 top 10, and he's in a position for not only his first podium, it would be at the top if he can manage this gap. You got someone challenging Grush.
Rafcab up the inside of turn 1 against Josh Grush in contact.
Oh!
I think Grush came in hot. He came in pretty hot. I don't think he was ever going to make that corner.
Well, let's see it back.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
I think he was expecting space to be afforded on the outside. I think at that point, Grush may have just had to defer.
Oh, and he totally gets taken out.
Oh! Get that one back.
Grush.
Wow, another incident from bad to worse.
So Josh Grush, picture-in-picture. He's just used the escape road on turn 1. Now he's coming down turn 2. Into turn 3. Is that Colton again? This is Colton now. On the inside, right?
Oh, he gets hit from behind. Oh, no.
Ooh, I think it's under. Oh, no. And then he punts him into the corner there.
Yikes.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. This is good news for Red. That's further down the order for Josh Grush. Donovan Colton in 18th place.
Thomas Greer exiting the pits right about now with Mertson behind, who still has to take their pit. So Thomas Greer, I believe, qualified up in 16th and now up 5 positions. It's been a solid race from him, so at least there's one good story that we can kind of remark on, given the fact that Josh Grush essentially just got removed from the race there. And if not for the fact that he's already got 1 DNF, or excuse me, DNS at that, this would have been his drop round, but this is certainly not the way that Red Bull Ring, I feel like, should have gone for our championship leader. I mean, his best lap of the race was only, what, 2.5 tenths off of what Rogelio Vita has put down for the purple lap?
Oof.
So where is Donovan Colton right now? As far as positions, I'm going to try and get a live
P18.
championship update for you. Okay, thank you.
Still looking at the same just about gap between Vita and David Herrera. And of course, Austin Red in between. Trying to make up potentially one last position here. 3 minutes left to go. Stefan Buckley, 2/10 up behind. That's Rene Oki in front. A race winner this season. In 16th now. Especially looking for a move on the inside here of turn 10. It looks like they had a little bit of trouble trying to do it, but they do navigate that corner. This is Thompson up the inside of Rodricks at turn 1. Onto the back straight. It looks like it's still going to be a bit of battle for them. Rare could not get that move completed against Kovac. That GTR, so powerful in a straight line. I feel like the Ferrari never really stood the chance, but it's the racing line for Tyler Thompson. Defensive shape from the GTR on the inside. That's going to bring Nathan Schaefer into the mix. We'll see how things evolve there. It's two GTRs going at it. Stefan Buckley up the inside of Rene Oki for turn 3. So still some battles yet to be had. Rene Oki going outside of the boundaries for that one. And a little bit of wheel spin for Stefan Buckley means this is still going to be a fight down towards turn 4.
Battle of the GTRs.
Sure looks like Buckley got the better of that one. Will be cleanly done. Steven Music up behind Zip. Zip was moved up a lot of positions this race. 10 in total. Steven Music was up 14. A ludicrously good performance for both of these drivers, realistically speaking.
Regalia Vitia, your leader in this race. 1 minute, 29 seconds to go in this race. Quick check on an update on your live championship. Austin Red would have 509 points. Would lead the championship with a second place result here. Over Donovan Colton with 475. That's a gap of 34 points. So Red would jump from third in the championship to first. Josh Grush would drop from first all the way to third with 473. That would be a gap of 36 points. This is going to come down to the final race. But Regalia Vitier,
Oh,
I think he's coming up on Josh Grush.
Merton did not satisfy their mandatory pit stop before the pit window closed. I think they still got it out of the way, though. That would have been a huge story for them.
Okay, the leader is on the final lap now. Give it all you can.
White flag for the 154. Regalia Vita looking to take their maiden win in the Sim Racing Alliance. Josh Grush just got past Merton on pit exit, and it looks like it's going to be a fight down to the wire for more than a couple of drivers. Less than half a second separates Tyler Thompson, Nathan Schaefer, and Rodricks is only just ahead. Thomas Greer is just barely in front of Aaron Kovac. Steven Music is close up behind Zip, both who have had phenomenal races. Rene Oki behind Stefan Buckley at this point in time, as Vita looks to be finishing up what is most likely going to be their victory lap for this race, barring any significant incidents. And I feel like at this point they know they've got a 3.5 second gap behind. Austin Red going to be really in the same shoes with David Herrera immediately trailing. Kent Van Sickle with a P4 finish would be elated with how things have gone for them. It's been an interesting race, certainly eventful. We're seeing maybe a little bit more action here right at the end. Vita coming through turn 7 right now, but Aaron Kovac and Thomas Greer continue to go at each other. It was turn 3 where the action was for these two on the last lap, and the 185 is going to go well wide at turn 3 here. That might give Thomas Greer the breathing room that he needs to complete his race. This is Regalia Vitia through turn 9. Only one more to go, and he's got the race win, keeps it inside the track. No drive-through for Regalia Vitia as he takes the checkered flag for the first time in his SRA career. And you can see the man who was doing the same thing on the warm-up lap, quite happy with that. Austin Red in second, and David Herrera in P3.
Regalia Vitier, revenge at Red Bull Ring. His first win. First podium. He taught us a few things.
It's Stefan Buckley has gone off the track. Aaron Kovac and Thomas Greer's off the track. Aaron Kovac getting promoted at the last second, and it might be another place on the table for a couple of more drivers. As Greer gets back, it looked like it was going to be for free. What happened? I don't know. Tyler Thompson. Ooh. Oh, Tyler Thompson! He's gone wide, well wide. Loses control of the Ferrari. Again on the last lap, Nathan Shaver gets promoted up. Thompson has got to rejoin now, and it looks like it's only going to be a couple of positions lost. But many, many drivers being promoted on the final lap of the race. Donovan Colton comes in 16th in total, if my race controls to be believed. But I think people are leaving the server, so that might be a little bit on the false side, but it was a huge moment for Rachele Vita, and oh my goodness, action all the way down to the wire.
Wow.
With drivers spinning out on the last lap. We saw 3 cars off on the last lap of the race.
Red Bull Ring.
Stefan Buck is still off on the side even.
Big picture though, Austin Red now leads this championship. I didn't think it was possible, right? Donovan Colton led he started the race on pole. Drive through right away, just like Red happened to him at Valencia. Colton does the same thing. Oh, after what, 350 laps of practice, Donovan Colton, I'm not even sure where he ended up, 18th maybe. It now promotes Austin Red into the lead in this championship. It will come down to the final race next week. We've had 7 different race winners here in D5.
Well, Division 5, you have done it again. You surprised me. You surprised me, Division 5. I don't know how it keeps happening, but somehow it does. And I'll tell you what, the stewards going to have a little bit of fun this week, looking at a couple of incidents. And let's just say there might be a couple of penalties handed down. But I think, as far as the top 3 go, was a fairly clean race. We saw a little bit of door banging from Herrera and Vita, but nothing significant by any means. And Herrera, who has had an incident-filled season, will be, I think, elated with a podium placement this go-around. And hopefully, for his sake, for Silverstone, things continue to look up for him. It was a well-battled race for all 3 of our top 3 placers.
Yeah, Herrera's second podium this season, I believe, right? You got to think way all the way back to Kyalami when he finished second. So finally, you know, a guy who manages to capitalize on those incredible qualifying performances and manages to finish the race this time. So second podium for him, huge points. Congratulations to David Herrera. I did manage to just one quick thing about Colton. I didn't calculate his pole position point, because you do get 1 point for pole position. So we'll give it a check on those championship points, but I think it's Red 509, Colton 476.
Holy. Wow.
Well, Red already probably learned his lesson, getting a drive-through on position start. And I feel like Colton probably also now has learned his lesson for getting a drive-through on position at the start. So what happens now? It's anybody's guess. I sure have no clue. But what I can say is that I'm very much looking forward to an eventful Silverstone event. I almost wish, and I say almost because I'm a pretty big fan of the Flying Dutchman, James Spiker. Well, I guess that title technically belongs to, one Max Verstappen, but we don't talk about him in here. But James Spiker, silver leader, and I don't believe he was the winner for the silver class this race, but still finished fairly strongly, so I'm expecting that he's probably going to still have that lead come week 8, but we'll see how that pans out. For the golds, I can say for a fact that things are going to be very, very interesting. I wonder if the team standings might have gotten a little bit mixed up with Tyler Thompson crashing out on the last lap as well.
There's a lot to digest there. I mean, so the ACC SM website has updated. So what we're looking at right now, anyway. So just my points may have been a little off, but the website at least has Austin Red 509 points, 19 points ahead of Donovan Colton with 490 and Josh Grush with 477. Colton, massive mistake today. Drive-through error at the start. Josh Grush, I think left practice till today. That's what it seemed like to me. And crashes, incidents. He was down at the bottom of the field, almost got lapped So clearly a race to forget for him, but it's going to come down to next week. Red Colton Grush.
Hang on a second. If I'm looking at this correctly, I don't want to get this wrong. Are you seeing what I think I might be seeing right now? I gotta look at this. So while I go and do a little bit of looking right here, I want you guys to tell me. Well, that too. But I was going to tell me what your favorite moment probably of the race was for this go around.
I'm going to go with the race winner, Regalia Vitier. Had some struggles earlier this season, actually most of the season, other than Kyle Ami. Finishes at 35th, 33rd, 15th, 12th, and 15th. Nothing to really write home about. Fantastic qualifying pace. Comes out and gets his first career SRA win. I just love saying that. Right, and we've said it a couple times this season. It really is special. How hard it is to win a race. We've had 7 different winners so far this season. So my favorite moment is Regalia Vitier. A little confidence there early in the race, right? We're on the warm-up lap. He's getting loose, getting those tires warmed up. That car's moving left to right. Clearly, he had confidence in the car, and he had underneath him today, and it showed.
Yeah, I agree with that one. Like, he showed up and just went for it. Literally went for it. Like, just with the confidence in the car and just setting down those purple laps. And yeah, I agree with that one. I think that's also my highlight of the race.
Okay.
We saw some good races from Tyler Thompson too, and Van Sickle.
Yeah. There's been a lot of
action.
Nice, clean racing too. So that's another one.
Heartbreak for Grush though too. Man, I just can't get over that. Race leader, or championship leader coming in, and he's dropped from first to third. We didn't think he was going to race, but if you're going to make the effort, he shows up, and he gets his butt here, and then gets his butt kicked. Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, that's brutal.
So I'm doing the math, and I think, accounting for drop races, if I'm looking at this correctly, and I really don't want to be wrong about this, but I really don't think that I am. I think that with a score of 434 points, James Spiker, with a drop race of 0 points at Paul Ricard, and that is 434 points including the drop race, so all of his previous totals, against Steven Music in second place with a drop race of a DNS at Spa-Francorchamps. Right now, the lead is 434 against 331, which, if that is accurate, and there are no drop races that I'm missing in other silver drivers, would make James Spiker the silver champion, which would be absolutely ludicrous for him. You can't score 113 points, which is what you would need to tie if you're Steven Music right now. So James Spiker, if you're out there and you can confirm the math on that one, that is a huge congrats to you, my friend. Silver champion for the season. And for Corsa Spazzatura, they're still sitting fairly pretty in the team standings as well. And I think that they're on track for a team championship. So it might be a happy day for the only bad drivers allowed conglomerate, which includes me. So I'm quite chuffed to hear that.
I mean, he came in with a big lead. I think it was 61 points leading the silver championship over Cowley, Schaefer, Demler, and then it was Music, I think, in fourth or fifth, if I recall. So Music, again, another great finish. Where did he end up? I'll find out in a second, but that's heating up, I think. But you're right, Spiker, he's led that silver championship just about all season.
Yeah.
Huge, absolutely huge. And in a day where we've had so many stories, as you mentioned, Regalia Vitier was the driver of the day for both of you, and I can't help but agree. I know I didn't really comment on that. I was busy doing maths. Maths, of course, being the most difficult thing that you could possibly do as a commentator live on a stream. But
honorable mention to Austin Red. Right? Because the other two had that collapsed. Colton Grush just collapsed today. And Austin Red held it together. He made a couple moves. I think he made a legit pass for second place. I don't exactly recall who he passed. I think it was Herrera. So a legit pass for some more points. So honorable mention to Austin Red and your likely championship leader.
Yeah,
But maybe if you want to chase down one of those guys, I'll thank those who make this so much possible. So a huge thank to our SRA sponsors and title sponsors for supporting us here at SRA, as well as support from Documise, a modern business solution for product management. Go to documise.com to learn more today, and support from Retro Saga, a North American-based gaming company that provides accessories for your favorite classic systems, including Nintendo, Sega, PlayStation, and much more. Enhance your retro gaming experience today at retrosaga.ca. I think our Retro Saga move of the day was that. It was Austin Red around Herrera for that second place. A big thank you to our affiliates, Track Racer. Experience redefined gaming with Track Racer's high-quality sim rigs and accessories. Use code SRATE at checkout to support us. Our fastest lap of the race was Regala Vitier, and he was our race winner. Our Track Racer fastest lap of the race, Regala Vitier. Armamentario, a toolbox for ACC that will enhance your chance to win. Enjoy a fully customizable and enhanced HUD to change the way you experience ACC. AT3D Sim Shop. Upgrade your sim racing experience. 3D printed accessories featuring precision crafted magnetic shifters, sleek cable management solutions, versatile stream deck mounts, and immersive dashboard displays. Their innovative designs enhance performance and style, elevate every lap with top-tier quality and craftsmanship at at3d.net. And finally, Go Setups Premium Esports for everyone. We got some new tracks out there, and Red Bull Ring, of course, you saw it tonight, and Nordschleife, I'm sure they'll have some tunes available soon. So use our affiliate link on our Discord and take your drive to the next level. Our Go Setups pole position today was Donovan Colton.
Yeah, truly amazing stuff. And I think we have on the line at the moment is going to be race winner for the first time in your Sim Racing Alliance career, Regala Vitier. Welcome to the booth. Amazing win. The pit stop certainly didn't help you, but you held on.
Yeah, it was a great race. I had a great start. I had a bit of contact at the race start with the guy in front of me. We'll see what happens with that, but I think I overtook everybody in the first 2-3 laps, and then I decided to just pull the biggest lead possible so I could cruise at the end of the race, and that actually won me the race. So I believe I was 14 seconds up on P2, and after the pits I was only 2 seconds. Yeah. So I don't know what happened during the pits, or I think I went through a lot of traffic.
Yeah, we noticed Red had a 13-second stop faster than you. So that's where your gap went. It was during that pit stop exchange.
What? Interesting.
Yeah.
I have to go.
I only put fuel. I don't know what happened there.
How much fuel did you put in? Did you start with a lower fuel load? We were kind of speculating. I mean, you were just tearing up the rest of the field.
I put 60 liters, 65 liters, and then in pit stops just to make sure I'd had 45, 50, something like that.
Oh, so you did take fuel?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That was it?
Yeah.
So everybody did what, like 1 liter of fuel, I guess?
Most likely, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that explains the pit delta. But as you mentioned, you pulled that gap. I really love you saying that. By the way, is deciding to just establish a massive lead, which I think if anybody had the decision, they would probably choose to do that. But I appreciate a little look into your mind on that one. But were there any thoughts, about coming out of the pits and seeing that the gap behind was only 3 or so seconds? Were you having maybe second guessing yourself on the pace at that point? Were you getting a little bit nervous, or did you keep it together?
I thought Red was, I don't know what happened. I thought maybe I lost a bit of time because of the blue flags. But then when I was 2 seconds, 3 seconds, P2 was behind me, and I was like, okay, I have 2, what's it called? When you go off the track?
Track cuts.
And yeah, there we go. And as I thought that, I did my 3rd track cut. And I was like, oh no, there's no way. I have these 2 seconds behind me. I can't do this. I'm not going to take a drive through. I'm just going to, if it happens, I'm going to take P2 or P3. but I managed to hold it. I believe I would have been able to do. I was doing 129.9s, 130s, but the last corner was the track cuts that had me. So I decided to just take it slow there. But if there was no track cuts, I would be doing 129.4s, 129.5s. So it was still in the bag, but it was a bit of pressure at the end.
How's it feel after having, you've been fast and the qualifying? I'd say you're probably one of the 3 drivers. When you need a lap for qualifying, you have it. But the races just haven't really worked out. Other than Kyalami this season, how does it feel to finally break through after 6 weeks of struggling during races?
It was fantastic. But I have to say, I'm kind of lucky with whatever happened with Colton and the first lap. I should have been he was faster than me 100%. I should have been P2 or P3, but it feels amazing, I have to say. I got quite unlucky with the past few races with blue flags, a couple of crashes here and there, but it feels nice.
I bet it does. Well, congrats, man.
Thank you so much.
I think our first winner for north of the border. So, Selena, you got a friend up there.
Yeah.
Yes,
Fellow
yes.
Canadian from one Canadian to another.
Spring is finally coming.
Yeah.
Oh man, tell me about
Tell
it.
me about it. Yeah. Finally, I mean, in here in New Brunswick, we're supposed to be getting snow in a couple days, so somewhat. I mean, it won't stay, so it's just coming and going. That's how it's been, but yeah.
Same for me, actually. I still have my temple up. If you guys know what a temple is.
Unless you're talking about the massive building where you worship gods, I don't think I do.
Oh, not a temple, tempo. Oh, it's like I don't know what you call it. Well, you put your car so snow doesn't drop on top of them.
Ah, yes. Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean now.
Yes.
I really gotta get myself one of those, but we're kind of getting a little bit off track here. We'll give you your final thoughts here. Anything you want to say before we head you on out?
No, it feels amazing. I hope I can replicate it in Silverstone again.
Splendid. Short and sweet. Thanks so much for joining us, and congrats on the win again.
Thank you so much.
Congrats.
Well earned first win. The fuel strategy,
absolutely.
I mean, the thing to think about too with that is generally it's slower to take fuel in the middle of the race, because if you're thinking about the time that you lose by having more fuel, the time that you gain from not having to refuel is essentially, at the beginning of the race, right? You don't have to refuel. That fueling time is eliminated because you never have to do it. So even winning the race plus having to take fuel is impressive.
Yeah, that's generally not a winning strategy. Winning strategy is get in and get out as fast as possible. You want to be fast on track, not slow in the pits.
Yeah, but like I said, losing 13 seconds of track time is brutal, but he fought through it.
Leave it to D5, though. Leave it to D5 with the alternate strategy for the win.
Yeah, speaking of, king of, I guess I would say strategy, alongside teammate Tyler Thompson, it's, I think, and I'm fairly sure at this point, Silver Division 5 champion, James Spiker. Welcome, and congrats on that, so long as I didn't do my math incorrectly. How does that make you feel?
It feels pretty good. I haven't had a podium all season, but I've been having consistent results after my terrible time at Kyalami. So I've been having a lot of fun, and it's been a push to just try to be the best of the silvers week after week.
Yeah, well, don't you worry about that, because I am in the exact same spot. I have not podiumed a single time this season, and somehow I'm still out there leading the silvers. But I mean, we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about you. I mean, the race in particular. Obviously, you went for the early pit stop, but there was a lot. There were quite a few, small incidents and some not so small incidents. Were you ever really worried that you might end up in a bit of a dogpile at some point, or no?
So I had a really good battle with one of the Mercedes drivers. I forget his name, which ended up with him in the wall. He missed his braking marker up into turn 3, and he flew past me, jump scared me, woke me up a little bit. Other than that, it was pretty straightforward. I had a couple offs here into the gravel here and there, but generally it was pretty straightforward. Can't say the same for my teammate, though. He didn't have quite the race he would have hoped for. But I had a lot of fun. I just kind of kept pushing and got out of the race what I could.
I mean, talking even on Thompson's performance, you mentioned that things didn't exactly go his way. We caught on stream that he ran off the track, well off the track, on the last lap on the second to last corner, had a bit of a spin out of turn 9. But Corsa Spazzatura, for all intents and purposes, still sits pretty well on top of the team standings. So, I mean, despite some of the difficulties, you're looking at a potential win here for the silver division, again, already confirmed, if I have not done my math incorrectly, but then also a team win. I mean, how does that feel?
It feels amazing. Honestly, being in D7 last season, I got really close with Tyler. He and I started kind of practicing together, and we decided that we were going to try to be teammates, and we ended up in the same division. And, you know, we're both very consistent drivers, and we figured that would be our strength, and it really has been. It's been great.
Yeah, well, I mean, talking about the car selection for this season, I feel like I've heard a little bit of talk that perhaps it's not quite what you dreamed of. Am I getting that one correct?
Yeah, it's not the car I'm enjoying very much. I find it difficult to push it to its full extent for long parts. So race pace, it's there because of being consistent, but I can push the car further. But it's on an edge where you push too far very easily. It's very much different than the cars I've driven before, such as the Porsche. I like that one a lot.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
I was gonna say something about that.
And then Tyler came from the Lamborghini, so we both have had to adjust to this car a lot this season. It's worked out decently well. Can't complain too much when you're leading silver and the team standings.
Yeah. Well, we'll know for sure if you guys are on top next week, and I'm sure that if that does end up being the case, we'll have you both on the stream. But for now, anything left to say before we send you on back over to the race review?
No, I just want to say thank you guys for the commentating week in, week out. It's a lot of fun to watch after. It's part of my post-race routine, so thank you guys a lot.
Well, thanks so much
Congrats,
for joining us.
James.
You're welcome. And congrats.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
James
Finished 7th place today. 7th place here at Red Bull Ring and leading your championship, very likely your championship winner for the Silvers. But do we get a shot at Red? Any chance we can get Red? Because he would be leading our championship.
I did want to talk to Red, but I also kind of want to talk to Kent Van Sickle as well. I asked Red if he wanted to get in potentially, but I didn't see a response. But he is in the race review, so we'll go ahead and pull him in right now and see what he has to say. So, a little bit of a deviation from the plan, but Austin Red, welcome in. This race really went your way, especially after seeing the qualifying standings. I mean, this is everything you could have asked for and more, I think.
Oh, absolutely. I can tell you right now, I'm happy we are done with this track. It is not clicking for me. I feel really bad for Colton, unfortunately, but I'm glad that I was able to capitalize on his unfortunate circumstance there. So I'm happy about it.
I mean, you served your own drive-through from
That's
pole
right.
position.
That's right.
So Colton's now got his. But did you? So when we last talked, Grush told us he wasn't racing. What went through your mind when you saw him in the servers tonight?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a surprise. You know, I was kind of excited. You know, obviously, the three of us have kind of been going head to head all season, and I kind of hate that he would have to miss a race. So, hoping he'll be here next week. I'm not sure if that will be the case or not. I don't know if he got his dates wrong, but yeah, I was happy to see him there.
Good man. That's awesome. You had a great pass. I think it was on Herrera for P2, outright position right there. So you were fast today. And you did have the pace, even though you felt like it wasn't clicking.
Yeah, so funny story with that.
Huge championship points. Well, yeah, tell us.
Yeah, so I have been struggling all week on this track, and I think it kind of came down to my setup being understeery. I made it a rash decision to go get a new setup right before the race, and it kind of paid off. So I was finding pace throughout the race, and felt a little more confident in the track. So that was good.
No, give this man a time penalty. That's a cardinal sin. Setup change right before the race.
Right. Yeah, it wasn't gonna work out well with the other setup. I promise you.
Tell you what, I would not do that in the Porsche. I spent a lot of time getting to know the setup in and out for the Porsche. I mean, fun car to drive, temperamental, yes. Fun, also yes. I certainly would not do that.
Yep, agreed.
But I mean, talking all about all this success where maybe you didn't expect it. Are you anticipating more in Silverstone? I mean, looking ahead now, division leader, full stop for Division 5. Championship is in sight, but you still have to make it happen for one more race, and you still have some very talented drivers chasing you down. I mean, what's the feeling for you right now?
Yeah, I'm gonna try not to overthink it. Right? If I start thinking about it too much, I'll probably cause another drive-through lap 1. That'd be my luck. So I'm just gonna try to stay consistent and see what happens. I think the standings will sort themselves out. Colton's gonna be some good competition for sure. So really looking forward to that race and see what comes of it.
Austin, can't wait, man. Congratulations. Your best finish of the season, right? I think you got
Absolutely.
3 third places. Congratulations. Second place, Austin Red.
Thanks, guys.
Congrats.
And thank you. So we'll send you on out, back to the race review. And I want to see if we can get, like I mentioned, lastly, Kent Van Sickle into the chat. He says he's ready, and I just want to get a little bit of a preview here. Kent Van Sickle, you haven't had, it must be said, you haven't had the greatest success so far this season. But a P4 finish here at the Red Bull Ring, it feels like it's a microcosm of what could have been based on what we saw at Kyalami. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. 5 or 6 races that were pretty good and kind of went okay, but just didn't get the result I wanted.
Well, I mean, lots of times it was, minor incident here or there, maybe an off track that lost you a position or two. But for the most part, you were able to keep it on track, keep it clean, even when you were racing against David Herrera, who we've seen this season has been a little bit aggressive at times, tries to keep it fair, but certainly has been one of the more aggressive drivers. But you kept it together, and I mean, especially considering sometimes it looks like you just can't quite get to terms with the car, and we know that the Ferrari can be a little bit hard to grasp at times. But it seems like you got control of it here near the end of the season, and as you mentioned, it's been a long time coming. And obviously, this season is pretty well over. There's not really much of a chance for you to make a resurgence in the standings, but talking about the potential to move forward next season, are you kind of thinking about that at this point?
Yeah, it's at this point it's just getting more comfortable with the car going to next season. Missed a couple of races this season because of outside events or influences or whatever, and that kind of ruined the season for me to some degree. But yeah, at this point, just getting ready for the next season, trying to get more comfortable in the car.
So talking on that, do you plan to stay in the Ferrari then, or are you thinking about switching it up for next season?
The turbo lag has been getting to me this season. I was on pole at
Metternich.
Correct, yeah, and coming off the line just dead slow.
Yeah.
Pretty aggravating. So might go back to the Lambo. That felt pretty good last season, but always open for other options too, so we'll see.
Well, might I recommend the wonderful natural aspiration of the Porsche 992 GT3?
Yes.
Is the campaign still going?
That thing is a charm, and it's fun to drive. Can confirm.
I've done a few laps in it, and it's definitely different. That is for sure.
That's about the worst you could get without invoking our ire, isn't it? I feel your audience.
Yeah.
Can't say that you're wrong. Well, still, I mean, going forward, no matter what car you choose to drive, talking about the season as a whole, you mentioned missing a race. What's your overall look, on this last season? Obviously, SRA, we try to keep it clean, try to keep it fun for the most part, and just, give us a little bit of an overview on what your experience was this season.
Overall, I had a few frustrating races, I guess. Kyalami incident, turn 4 or 5 on lap 2 in 3rd place, kind of ruined the race for me to some degree. Some frustrations at Snetterton. Otherwise, pace has felt really good.
Pace has always been your strength.
Felt competitive in just about every race. Spa being the only one that I just did not feel comfortable in the car at all. Felt like I had a chance just about every week, but just never put it together, which got frustrating.
And that'll come, right? The more times you just get out in front and you get comfortable in traffic, helping out some of the listeners, Kent here, he qualified Kyle Ami at 3rd. Snedderton was on pole. Paul Ricard 4th. So the first 3 races, you were the fastest driver we saw. It's just if you can manage that over into the race and getting comfortable with cars to the left and right of you, I don't think you'll be in D5 very long.
Yeah, I agree. The pace is there. I just need to sort it out with the other cars more than anything.
For sure, man. For sure. Well, we had a good race today.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
And I will say that, presently speaking, of course, I'm planning to be here for the next season up in the commentary booth, and I would not necessarily be disappointed to see you here again racing on track for the next season. So thanks so much for joining us in the booth tonight. Thanks so much for giving us a lot of action and a lot of stories to talk about throughout the season. If you have any final words for the stream for right now, this is the time.
I guess just thanks for watching, everybody. makes it a different experience for sure. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next race.
Sounds good. Have a good one.
Kent Vensicle, P4 this race. Solid finish, and as he mentioned, a long time coming. Not much more to be said about it, but we have
the stage. I was going to say the stage is set for next week. We're going to have a burner here. Championship is still on. Red, Colton, and Grush.
Hey, let's not count out, by the way. If by some sort of work of God something terrible happens to all 3 or all 4 potentially of our championship leaders, there still are technically 5 drivers who could win this championship. James Spiker is the silver winner for this season. Again, if we've done our math right, which I'm fairly certain I have. But 434 points against 509 from Austin Red, a P1 finish, and with Austin Red and Donovan Colton and Josh Grush all finishing super low down on the order, maybe with some DNFs. I highly doubt it, but it is possible. Same can be said for Tyler Thompson and Corsa Spazzatura, as I mentioned before, also looking primed to take the team win as well, which is not guaranteed at this point, but with a lead of 145, it seems all but certain for them. So Silverstone has got some stories yet to tell for Division 5, and they certainly have given us an amazing story so far this season. We talked about our highlights for the race already. Really, there's not a whole lot more to do than make our closing remarks. So let's do it. Week 8 coming up. Silverstone next. What are our thoughts?
I just want to give another shout out to Regalia Vitier. 7 different winners this season, and he was our 7th. Congratulations, an extra shout out for him today. So that's my moment. Looking ahead to Silverstone, we'll be getting 8th different race winner.
Selena?
Yeah, it's actually, I'm pretty looking forward to Silverstone, and especially seeing it all come down to the wire with Division 5 and like Austin Red, Donovan Colton, and Josh Grush all battling for that team championship win for the final race. It's going to be very exciting watching that all pan out.
I surely hope that it is
the right car, right? He's in the McLaren, and I like the McLaren at Silverstone.
Oh yeah, very, very strong.
Certainly more than the Lamborghini or the Aston Martin. So, assuming BOP, right? If no BOP, I would like the McLaren in Josh Grush the most.
Well, we'll see how things pan out. All 3 have demonstrated that they have the pace and the racecraft to take the win. So we'll see who it is that ends up on top. But yeah, barring any final thoughts here, I think we're about ready to close it out. So it's your last chance. All right, and there it goes. So round 8 on the horizon. It's Silverstone. We've got a championship winner yet to decide, but that's for next week. Division 5 going to wrap up at, again, just one of the most legendary tracks in racing history. It's going to be Silverstone next week, same time, same place here on the SRA YouTube channel. Again, there's going to be more races for the Red Bull Ring tomorrow. The other 3 divisions that did not race tonight, you can join up in the Discord to find the links for all of the streams and to join in on the action yourself. For next season, we host endurance races, all sorts of goodies in the SRA Discord. So join up, find those links if you want, and of course, races tomorrow. But Division 5, if you're following this one, it's going to be here, same time, same place, and ideally, the same casters for one of the best stories so far of the season. We can't wait to see you there. That's going to do it for us tonight. We'll see you.